I call the meeting to order. Ask you please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have approval of minutes, September 3rd, special meeting, regular meeting, September 9th, and special meeting, September 30th. Is there a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Public comment, agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on any item on the agenda? Hearing none, the first item we have is resolution regarding seeker for short-term rentals, local law. Read the resolution. Resolution adopting negative declaration under SECRA on proposed short-term rental local law. Whereas the town board of the town of Cornwall has before it a draft local law regulating short-term rentals within the town. And whereas this is an action that is subject to SECRA. Whereas the town board is lead agency in review of the proposed local law under State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA has caused a full environmental assessment form, FEAF, to be prepared. Whereas the town board has both on its own and through its consultants investigated and considered the potential environmental impacts of the proposed local law, in consequence of which proposed Part 2 and Part 3 portions of the FEAF have been prepared. Now therefore be resolved as follows. 1, that the town board adopts the Part 2 and Part 3 portions of the FEAF prepared for the proposed local law, copies of which are next here too. And 2, that after considering all the information pertaining to the project, including without limitation, the FEAF, the town board hereby adopts the negative declaration attached here too. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next item we have is adoption of short-term rentals local law. I'll read the resolution. Whereas heretofore the town board has considered the adoption of a local law entitled, a local law to enact a new town code, Chapter 120, entitled Short-Term Rentals. Whereas following due notice, the town board held a public hearing on the proposed local law and heard all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. Now therefore be resolved as follows. 1, that the town board hereby adopts the above local law, which said local law shall be effective immediately. And 2, that said local law shall be published, posted, and filed in the office of the Secretary of State in Albany as required by applicable law. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Discussion.
Discussion?
Are we on the second one or the first one? Seeker or?
We did seeker.
Okay. I do have just a little bit to say here. Okay, I've been told that I should recuse myself from speaking about Airbnbs, but in reality, anyone who owns a home in Cornwall is a potential Airbnb host. As many of you might consider doing the same, I'm not in any preferred self-interested position. Further, I estimate that there are between 75 and 100 active Airbnbs. If that number is anywhere near correct, that makes Airbnb among the largest employers in Cornwall, not to mention the support jobs and local spending that they provide. The availability of the option of Airbnb has an impact on the value of real estate in Cornwall. Having a cash flow creates value. The lack of an option or an onerous requirement would have a detrimental effect on home prices, especially considering that the village of Cornwall and Hudson hasn't yet discussed the possibility of regulating Airbnbs. If they chose not to, it would be terribly unfair to town residents, making town homes less desirable than village homes. From a New York Times article dated January 3rd, 2019, earlier this month, a challenge to the town of Shelter Island, short-term rental ordinance enacted in April 2017, amended May 2019, came to an end. Several years ago, the Shelter Island Town Board enacted a short-term rental law to impose licensing and advertising requirements for certain vacation rentals, prohibit certain vacation rentals from being rented for more than a 14-day period, or more than once in a 14-day period, provided civil penalties for violations, and empowered the town board to implement the law. 6 plaintiffs, in Weisenberg versus Town Board of Shelter Island commenced an action in federal court to annul the short-term rental law. One of the causes of action was supported by the court, and that was the Fourth Amendment claim protecting persons from unreasonable searches and seizures. The court addressed the plaintiff's privacy claims brought under the Fourth Amendment and Article 1, Section 12 of the New York State Constitution. The Fourth Amendment protects persons from unreasonable searches and seizures and states that no warrant shall be issued without probable cause. Their claims specifically challenge the record-keeping, search, and penalty provisions of their short-term law, which required owners to maintain copies of rental agreements and the rental registry on the premises for Shelter Island examination upon request, and preserve them for 3 years, and also authorized Shelter Island to impose fines and suspend or revoke rental permits for failure to maintain the same. Notably, the short-term rentals provided for a hearing prior to the suspension or revocation, but it authorized the fines without a hearing or any process. The court noted that while small civil fines do not rise to the severity of criminal penalties for noncompliance, the short-term rental laws raised constitutional concerns. District courts and other circuits have held that the automatic imposition of fines for noncompliance without a hearing may render a regulatory regime unconstitutional. One such court held that this type of process places the individual in the unacceptable position of either having to submit to inspection or refuse inspection and hope to successfully defend the scope of inspection afterwards. Here the court held that automatic fines, though certainly not as severe as the threat of arrest or criminal prosecution, could be used as a pretext for harassment. By failing to provide an opportunity for pre-compliance review before the imposition of fines, the short-term law may violate the Fourth Amendment. But that is not to say that pre-compliance review alone would make the short-term rental law constitutional. The court further noted that the administrative search regimes without pre-compliance review may satisfy the Fourth Amendment where the government shows special needs that make the warrant and probable cause requirements impractical, and that the primary purpose is distinguishable from the general interest in controlling crime. So while this doesn't exactly mirror Cornwall's law, the New York State short-term rental regulation was also blocked. New York City short-term rental regulation was blocked under the Fourth Amendment. The law would require online rental services to disclose the addresses of listings and the identity of its hosts to the city's Office of Special Enforcement on a monthly basis. Hosts, the hosts of the homes, would also be required to list whether the dwelling is their primary residence and whether the entire unit or a portion is available for short-term rentals. Now, that language sounds very familiar to what we have in ours. Companies that fail to
Michael,
share
wait,
data.
hold it right there. You've got page after page after page. Basically, everything you've just about said doesn't relate to this law. Do you have anything further to add to it?
Cornwall's fine is $250
Motion to call the
a day
question.
for
Is there a motion to call the
non-compliance or
question?
15 days jail
Motion.
time.
Is there a second?
Second.
Move to the second. Roll call.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Mr. Summerfield?
No.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I'll read the resolution. Whereas heretofore, Town Board has considered the adoption of a local law entitled, a local law to enact Town Code Chapter 120, entitled Short-Term Rentals. And whereas following due notice, the Town Board held a public hearing on a proposed local law and heard all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. Now therefore be resolved as follows. 1, that the Town Board hereby adopts the above local law, which said local law shall be effective immediately. 2, that said local law shall be published, posted, and filed in the Office of the Secretary of State in Albany as required by applicable law. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next item, we have a Girl Scout yard sale. The Girl Scouts are going to hold their fall sale on Saturday, October 19th from 9 to 4. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next, Highway Department, I have a memo from the Highway Superintendent. May the undersigned be authorized to purchase a 2020 Chevrolet pickup, be purchased from Robert Green Truck Division for the price of $45,728.50. Please find the following the purchase order request and quote. This is through a, I believe, state contract. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next item, memo from the highway superintendent. Undersigned requests permission to purchase a Little Wonder 10-yard self-contained leaf vacuum from Montague Tool Company. Montague Tool's price is $28,799, and it's based off the Sourcewell Cooperative Contract. Is there a motion to approve the purchase?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion.
Mr.
Roll call.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Highway Department, memo from the Highway Superintendent, surplus vehicles. May the undersigned be authorized to surplus 2 vehicles below from the Highway Department. Both vehicles have been replaced and no longer utilized by the department. 1995 International Dump 4x4 and a 2004 International Dump. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next, the paving projects, something we've been looking forward to. This is through most of the money will be through a grant that Senator Larkin had obtained for the town. The additional money will come from the town, the capital fund, and funds that we need. This is repaving of Munger Cottage driveway leading to Munger, the parking areas in front, the original parking areas, as well as paving up Little League Drive and around the wading pool and the recreation areas. This is through a county contract. The total is $110,365, and I don't know where they get the 50 cents from. 50 cents. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second, discussion, roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes. In addition to that, Kovac also, we're going to resurface that up there for 11/5/16/40. And there is money in the fund to cover that. It's a resolution regarding supporting the upgrading of Route 17 through Orange County and up into Sullivan County, requested by the supervisors, mayors of towns, villages, and cities to adopt this to encourage the state to work with the federal government to expand 17 to 3 lanes. I won't read the entire resolution, but it's just a resolution supporting the efforts to get started on that project to make it happen within a reasonable period of time. It's been discussed for many, many years, but it's become more crucial given the amount of traffic that we're seeing through Orange County. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Move. Second? I'll take a second. Helen, you second it.
I'm second.
Roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next, I have a letter from New York State DEC. Officers in receipt of the request to revise the March 5th, 2018 schedule of completion for Cornwall Sewer District Number 1 I&I and surcharging mitigation report. The 6 August 2019 proposed schedule attached has been reviewed and is hereby approved and made part of and enforceable under Order Consent Number R3-201-206-19-76 and R3-2012-0927-170. This is the schedule that we have for the project, and we were set back, again, surveyors, it was difficult getting them for completing some of the work, but this is that the window? Or bird, maybe?
No, it's a speaker.
There's a speaker system.
Oh.
They pop.
And so actually, this is planned to be, the engineering finished up. We hope to get out to bid early next year and actually get the project done by the end of next year. But this is through the consent order that we have for the DEC for the Cornwall Sewer District. So I just want to note that for the record, they've approved the change of the schedule. We scheduled a budget workshop for tomorrow night here at Town Hall at 7 o'clock. Next is a resolution on a tax certiorari settlement for 20 Industry Drive. Tax ID 33-1-49.12 for the years 2017 to 2019. Whereas petitioners' court challenges are now pending in Supreme Court, Orange County. Whereas the town and the property owner, begin with whereas petitions have been filed by the property owner below challenging real property tax assessments at town assessment roll respective to the following parcels as Cornwall properties and as outlined. Petitioner's challenges are now pending in the Supreme Court, Orange County. Whereas the town and the property owner have reached a mutually agreeable resolution, therefore be it resolved, the special counsel of the town is authorized to execute a settlement on behalf of the town for assessments of no less than the following. 2017, original assessment was $3,149,500. Reduced assessment, $2,950,000. Assessment reduction, $199,500. The same for 2018, and for 2019, original assessment the same, $3,149,500. Reduced assessment, $2,802,500. Assessment reduction of $347,000. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved. So moved.
Moved, is there a second?
Yeah.
Yes. Discussion,
Yeah.
roll
Mr.
call.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Next is a resolution, our longtime planner is retiring at the end of the year, so we have to put out a request for proposals for a new planner. Read the resolution, whereas Leslie Dotson, the current town planner, is retiring as of December 31st, 2019. Whereas the town board is considering soliciting proposals from qualified municipal planners to act as the general municipal planning consultant to the town for the year beginning January 1, 2020. And whereas the town board has before it a draft request for proposals, RFP, for a municipal planning consultant. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the town board hereby approves the draft RFP. And 2, the town board hereby authorizes the notice of the RFP be published in the Times Herald Record in the Cornwall Local. Such authorization shall be deemed a designation of such newspapers as official papers of the town for the purpose of such publication. Is there a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. I have a request from the Chamber. Eileen Hartman, on behalf of the Chamber, requests the following events. On Saturday, October 26th, the Halloween Spooktacular will take place on Main Street. I'd like to request Main Street be closed from Willow Avenue to the traffic circle in front of Canterbury Brook Inn from 2:30 to 5:15. Registration entertainment will be from 3 to 3:45, with the parade following at 4 down Main Street from the traffic circle of Willow Avenue. Loop around, return back to Main Street, up Main Street to Bridge Street. The Chamber will give out prizes for the best costumes and light refreshments. December 1st, the Chamber would like to request that the traffic circle on Main Street be closed to Willow Avenue from 2:30 to 6:30 for the horse carriages, Santa Land at Bridge Street, and the lighting of the Christmas tree at the traffic circle on Main Street. Is there a motion to approve the events?
So moved.
Or second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Laurel Crest Drainage, that project is out to bid. The bids are expected back Friday morning, the 18th at 10 o'clock. Once we get the engineer has a chance to review the bids, I'm going to set a special meeting for one night next week so we can act on it, get the contract awarded, and hopefully get that work done before winter really sets in. So I will be back in touch with the board on that. And we also advertising for bids, the town hall generator contract. Again, this was a grant through Senator Larkin, as was Laurel Crest, or no, I'm sorry, Senator Skoufis actually got us the money. There was a little mix-up in Albany on that, but he was able to secure the money for Laurel Crest so we could continue with that project. But this is from Senator Larkin on replacing the generator at Town Hall with a much larger generator that will actually service the entire Town Hall in addition to the police department. So that we've had a number of, obviously, weather, I guess, conditions that have put power out for a long time, and it's really essential that the Town Hall be able to be open and be able to operate during some of the emergencies that we face. So that's out to bid. The bids will be open November 1st at 2 o'clock. And so then we'll get a report from our engineer on that for the meeting in November. Memo from Chief Hazard, No Shave November. Cornwall Police Department once again looking to participate in No Shave November to raise money for cancer awareness. Requesting the town board allow me to suspend the general order that requires officers to be clean shaven for the month of November. Officers who elect to participate would be required to make a monetary donation of $20 to the Orange Regional Medical Center Foundation. Participating officers would still need to keep all facial hair neatly trimmed. Long stringy beards would not be permitted. December 1st, normal grooming standards will be back in effect. Respectfully submitted, Chief Hazard. Is the motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo.
Yes, motion is carried. Next item is a letter from Mr. Gava regarding the sewer reallocation agreements that the town has entered into with the Mudna.
New Windsor and with the Mudna properties.
So I have the vouchers for the legal services, which actually Mr. Gava actually put all the time into work on getting the agreements and draft agreements and redraft agreements, and finally we solved it. So the total amount is $5,619.60. So a motion to approve the.
Just to be clear on that, Dick, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is funds that are going to be paid into escrow by Mudna to reimburse the town for its costs. So at the end of the day, the applicant will be paying this, not.
I was actually going to highlight that.
Oh, well, thank you. Wouldn't want you to overlook it.
Oh, well, we felt in the negotiations on it that, you know, our attorney was actually wound up doing all the work for it, so we felt that the applicant should really pay the fees. So once the board approves them tonight, they'll be sent to Mudna's attorneys with a request for payment. And once the funds have been received, then we will then pay our esteemed counselor for the fine work that he did. So is there a motion to approve the payments?
So moved.
For second
Second.
discussion? Roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo.
Yes, motion is carried. Under personnel, I have a resignation, planning board member, writing this letter in regards to my current appointment to the Town of Cornwall Planning Board, which I have served on since 2012. First, let me say it has been a pleasure serving on the board and feel that the board does a great job for the residents of Cornwall and has the best interest for the town. Due to myself and family relocating out of the area and no longer being residents of the town, in light of fairness, I'm asking for you to accept my resignation effective immediately. This is Richard Bischoff. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Move second discussion, roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo.
Yes, motion is carried. I do have one thing I just wanted to add from the Canterbury Fire District. They are also repaving their parking lot up at Highland Engine. And they had asked the town to assist them with trucks and equipment to help hold down the costs, which helps our taxpayers out immensely. So we have just a thank you from the district expressing their gratitude to the town and the Highway and Sanitation Department for the use of town equipment and assistance in milling of the highway or the Highland Engine parking lot. Having good neighbors is what makes the Hudson Valley a beautiful place to reside. From Brian Botter, Secretary, Canterbury Fire District. Okay, committee reports. Councilwoman Bynum.
I just have sewer, the regular monthly report. So this one is the Cornwall Shore Road one, and the flow was .420, and the permitted is 1.5. And the Firthcliffe Howard Street plant, the flow was .049, and doesn't tell me permitted. Oh, permitted is 1.12, so we're, I don't have anything else.
That's it. Councilman McGinnis.
For the month of September, the building department issued 38 permits, 9 COs issued, 13 certificates of compliance issued, 1 demolition permit, 78 on-site inspections, 6 complaints investigated, 7 fire inspections, 1 court appearance, 11 signs removed, and they took in $5,769 in permit fees, and took in $3,300 for fees for municipal searches. There were 11 of them. The highway department for the month of September assisted sanitation as needed, street sweeping townwide, roadside mowing townwide, weed whacking Main Street and municipal lot in preparation for Fall Festival, cleaned up debris on Main Street after the Fall Festival, installed a catch basin and 40 feet of drainage pipe on Highland Avenue, basin repair in Shadane Circle, Hidden Glen, installation of 2 catch basins on Alder and 400 feet of drainage pipe, reclamation of Munger Cottage parking lot, and began installation of 5 catch basins and over 600 feet of pipe in Munger Cottage parking lot. So they were busy on capital projects.
They did a great job. I mean, they ran into, obviously, many feet of shale that had to be broken up, but at least before we do the repaving, we wanted to get the drainage so that the lot would drain off and control the water, and actually, so the highway department really did a great job on it. Have Chief Hazard's report, calls for service, 689 miles driven, 8423. Total miles for 2019 as of September 30th, 76,426. Traffic and appearance tickets issued 32. Parking tickets 5. Motor vehicle accidents 23. Arrests made 4. 9/11 hangout, misdial, open line 5. Alarm residential business 18. Ambulance request 23. Animal complaints 23. Burglary 1. Criminal mischief 3. Disabled vehicles 13. Domestic incidents 8. Parking complaints 3. Suspicious vehicle or persons 13. House checks 7. Assist other agencies 14. I do want to mention that the roof is complete, the new roof on the police department and the annex. Obviously, we had the leaks for a long time, so Buildings and Grounds in the process of painting in the police department. We're going to be putting down new carpeting and replacing ceiling tiles and all that to be done. So it'll really be a good facelift for the incident. Nobody will appreciate the roof other than those who worked in there. But the inside is really much brighter, and they've done a great job with it. Have warrant number 10, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. McGinnis? Ms. Pye?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion is carried. Public comment, any items? You want to hear about the bridge? Yeah, I'll give you an update. The survey is done, the engineers, the structural engineers are working on the design, and because of the time of the year, by the time we got it out to bid, it'd be winter time, they'd be dealing with winter concrete, which increases the cost. They'd be dealing with shutdowns during the winter conditions. So what we're gonna do is get it out to bid right at the end of the winter so that we can award the bid and it'll be into construction season. So that's the plan. It will help us save money. Yes, it's a little longer that it'll take to get open, but at least they got the survey done, which took months really to get that done. But the structural engineers are working on it, so I'll have the board, we'll, as soon as we get the final word from the engineer, we'll be able to move ahead and, like I said, get it ready to go out to bid for the end of the winter. Anyone? Yes, Nancy?
Nancy Bryan, I'm very sorry that Councilman Summerfield didn't stay. The Airbnb has been an education for me, and I'm really not taking sides one way or the other. Shelter Island and New York City were rather odd places to compare to Cornwall.
Yeah.
But what I do want to say is that I think sometimes if we don't want things regulated, then we should be careful that we're not regulating everything. And when we want everything regulated except one thing, it doesn't always work out the way you want. And so I think seeing how this goes, and I'm sure if the town feels that it needs to be revisited, it would revisit it. And that's all I wanted to say on that.
No, thank you, Nancy. Actually, I mean, we did put a lot into the law itself. It's not that restrictive. It should not have any adverse impact really on Airbnbs and short-term rentals. People are still going to be able to rent them out. People will still be able to come here and stay and, provide the tourism that the town is looking for. It just provides some oversight in certain instances. It certainly will help neighborhoods where there are going to be parties and events, so that while people say my home is my castle, well, so is your neighbor's home their castle. And the point is that your neighbor should be able to enjoy their home in a residential neighborhood just as they expect it when they purchase the property. So you're right, we'll see how it works. If we have to visit it to make some adjustments or modifications, we'll absolutely do that. We're not looking to have something that's, this is not over-restricted by any means. I think it's rather limited, but it does provide some information for the town. And it also, when permits are required and inspections required based on what's required in the law, it does at least have an inspection that is going to look at codes such as fire safety, fire alarms, things like that, for the good of the people that are paying their money to stay at these facilities. So we think it's very reasonable. The building department is working on the application. This has to go to the Secretary of State to be filed before it's effective. So we will have the applications ready, and at the same time, when the board meets again in maybe even next week, we'll set the fees so that when the Secretary of State acts on it, we'll have everything in place to start doing the registrations and all. But we're wide open. Anybody has any questions, any concerns, we're happy to address it. We're happy to hear, any feedback that we get on it. So thank you for that, Nancy. Anyone else? When?
Have you set a date to lift the building moratorium yet?
We have not. We kept the public hearing open on the zoning amendment for 30 days, so we're going to take that one step at a time. Anyone else? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Mr. Randazzo?
Yes, motion's carried. Thank you all for coming.